Greetings, everyone. This is Ayman Tarabishi. I am the ICSB Executive Director of the International Council for Small Business. I'm also Deputy Chair of the Department of Management at the George Washington University. This is the ICSB Exchange webinar series, and the title of this series is Teaching the UN Sustainable Development Goals, Part 2. And I'll introduce the panelists in a minute, but I am just delighted to have many of you here joining us again. This has been now over a month in which we did the certificate, and now the outcome of the certificate, we're actually, and as I mentioned yesterday in the email that went out, that we have now our members and our partners worldwide coming back and saying, ICSB, here's how I'm teaching the SDGs, and here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm gonna share with the world and with my colleagues. So that's just makes us delighted, makes us very proud that we have all these different partners and friends of ICSB and family members of ICSB all coming in to join us. And with that, what I'd like to do is introduce the panelists for today, the speakers for today, in the order that they will present, and then we'll go from there. So let me first start by introducing Dr. Antonella Zucchella. She is a professor of marketing and circular entrepreneurship at the University of Pavia in Italy. And Antonella, I will also introduce our next speaker here. Her name is Dr. Sylvia Robles. She is a lecturer of entrepreneurship at the Robert C. Vacar College of Business and Entrepreneurship at the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. So I'm both delighted to have you here. Antonella, I want to just say greetings, ciao, come stai, buon pomeriggio. I am half Italian, so I'm always delighted to speak a little bit of Italian here. And how is everything in Italy? How are you doing and your family? And tell us a little bit about what's going on in Italy, and then we'll get into your presentation.
Thank you, Ayman. I'm very honored to be part of this initiative. Thank you for inviting. And I'm okay, my family is okay, so this is the good news. Northern Italy, where Pavia is, has been hit hard by COVID-19, but so far so good for me and my family. So thank you for caring. Congratulations for your excellent Italian.
Oh, thank you very much. I take pride in that. That's a good, you made my day. So
I'm going to share my screen. And, I hope everybody can see it.
Yes, perfect.
Is it there? Okay.
Yeah.
So what am I going to talk briefly today is an experiment we are running at Pavia University of teaching a new course. The new course is circular entrepreneurship. And I will tell you a little bit more about what is circular entrepreneurship and why it's important for us. This course is also the opportunity to experiment not only new contents, but also new ways to deliver contents to students, new teaching approaches. Also, another innovation we have introduced is to engage enterprises. The course has been designed together with companies and trying to understand what was really important for them in the transition to sustainable development. And they will also provide real cases and challenges to students to engage students as well. I'm going to do two things. One is the method, that is the blue arrow on the left, which method we are planning to use, and it's phenomenon-based teaching. And on the right, the content of the course, that is how circular entrepreneurship contribute to achieving sustainable development goals. Regarding that, maybe you are already familiar with what is phenomenon-based teaching and learning, but let me resume briefly what it's. It's based from the starting point of the observation of a phenomenon. Phenomena are observable events And they provide rich material for discussion, for engaging students. And observing phenomena permits to be multidisciplinary, because phenomena don't pertain to a single discipline. They are multifaceted. Phenomena, however, are holistic, so you have to view them in their entirety. They are authentic, they are happening out there, they are real, they are observable, measurable even. And they elicit problems to be addressed and possible solutions to problems. And they also contribute not only to learning, but most important, learning to learn, the fundamental task of us as educator, to contribute to the learning to learn process of students. I just briefly mentioned that phenomenon-based is also used in research, not only in teaching and education, and there are increasing calls for research based on the observation of phenomena and adopting this approach. It's very important for sustainability because in work from Hallinen, it is underlined that in order to build a sustainable future, adopting phenomenon-based teaching and learning can be very fruitful. Now, you might wonder, okay, but what is this about? And I just make briefly a practical example. Let's take a phenomenon that is global warming, climate change. Global warming is observable, is measurable. We have plenty of data series. We know how it's distributed unevenly across the world. So we can develop a good observation of the phenomenon and use the phenomenon to understand the geographic dimension where it's more manifest and it impacts more. Can develop also a multi-level understanding on citizen individuals, impact on organizations, on policy making, on regions, and so on. And we implement disciplines from climate studies to agriculture, industry, business management. So we can see all the facets and invite students to understand the complexity. They will never be experts of everything, but they need to be capable of working in teams with people from different disciplines and understand what they are saying and work together. They need to learn how to tackle the problems. Problems are very different and they are context embedded. The impact of climate change in sub-Saharan Africa is totally different than in the Netherlands. In one case, it's going drought, lack of water, massive migrations, maybe. In the Netherlands, it's going to provide going below the sea level and other kind of issues. So we need really to understand that phenomena are complex, multifaceted, multidisciplinary, which problems they bring, but which solutions we can try to think about. After this short example, let's go to the contents of this circular entrepreneurship course. Of course, the contents are a departure from the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, with the lenses of sustainable entrepreneurship. So what sustainable entrepreneurship can do for sustainable development goals, and with a particular focus later on circular entrepreneurship as a specific case of sustainable entrepreneurship or a specific case of humane entrepreneurship. Of course, the SDG don't need any further comment, we all know them, but let's go to the example I made before. If I was observing the phenomenon of global warming and climate change we have a specific goal. It's climate action. Students will recognize it more easily and be already ready for understanding the implications and why United Nations have put these among the main goals and which actions are suggested and which indicators. And also they will understand the interconnections, which like poverty, hunger, clean water, responsible consumption and production, but also strong institutions, but also partnerships. So, of course, given that the course is an entrepreneurship course, we will devote some attention also to the way the 17 SDGs have been declined for business. Talking about the United Nations Global Compact and its 10 principles and 4 areas: human rights, labor, environment, anti-corruption. This is all nothing new, but again, the way we approach these things is to start from phenomena and then get there. Regarding entrepreneurship, that is the core of the course, we have 3 pillars. The pillars that we agreed with companies are entrepreneurship, innovation, and sustainability. Why innovation is as a distinctive role? Of course, we know innovation is an important component of entrepreneurship. But we wanted to underline innovation particularly because sustainability requires a lot of innovative answers, and students must be ready for providing innovative answers at different levels: product, process, business models, value chains. So, in our view, sustainable entrepreneurship stays in the middle at the intersection of these key topics. Sustainable entrepreneurship, so is presented, discussed with students as a carrier of innovations in value proposition, as in products, services, processes, business models. What is important is, first of all, raise awareness in students in order to change mindsets. We want to grow the students' appetite for change through this phenomenon-based teaching, starting from phenomena. But also we want to engage them personally. For example, inviting students to think how sustainable their behaviors are in their daily routines. And sometimes you get surprises because many students are convinced they are very sustainable. They say, I don't drive to work, I don't have a car, I only use my bicycle, I consume responsibly, I'm very well aware. But then you start provoking them and decomposing their habits, and maybe you discover that they are not so sustainable as they think, as they thought. When they tell me, my activities are not impactful because I spend all my day in front of a computer, so I'm not polluting the environment. And I say, okay, you are in front of a computer, but are you aware that when you are Googling, you are consuming a lot of energy? You know, Blackle, that I'm showing you now is a screenshot from the homepage of Blackle. This is an innovative answer from a small company who uses the Google search, but on a black background. And in this way, as you can read from the screenshot, they are saving millions, billions of watts of energy. So the students spend their time with their smartphones in their hands, and sometimes they are not really aware that there is lack of sustainability also in smartphones. They say, but I'm not consuming much energy with a smartphone. Yes, but where is your smartphone coming from? How it has been manufactured? Is it under fair manufacturing? The materials and the metals, the rare metals, are they sustainably mined? This means that phenomena, from phenomena, identifying problems, and helping students to develop problem-solving attitudes. This is an example of sustainability in mobile phones, since we were provoking students about mobile phone use. This is Fairphone, again, a small, medium-sized company, young, few years ago was founded, and they manufacture and sell a fair phone, that is a phone that is fully respectful of sustainability along the entire value chain, from the mining materials to the manufacturing conditions, fair salaries, and all the like. So phone is a nice example because it introduces us to the circular economy, again, using inductive methodologies and phenomena, because the fair phone is made to last, not to be disposed away after a couple of years. It's made to last and it's fully repairable. It's a modular phone. Anytime you break a piece of it, you just ask for solution and you will online, and you have to give back the broken pieces because they want to recycle, reuse, collect back. This is a case of circular economy as well. So we are moving from sustainable development goals, we are moving from environmental issues gradually to the topic of circular economy and circular entrepreneurship. What is circular entrepreneurship? It's, as I said, a tactic form of sustainable entrepreneurship, which has the objective of closing the loops of resources, eliminating waste, eliminating everything that makes our consumption and production non-sustainable. Here, what is the circular economy to the linear economy? You have this figure, it's not mine, of course, it's taken from a work that I quoted. The linear economy has dominated our economy since the Industrial Revolution. It's based on take resources from the planet, make, manufacture, dispose, throw in the environment, in landfills, and forget about it. Circular economy is a circle based on continual make, use, recycle, remake, and so on. Circular economy for us is a very important topic. Why? Because Europe, the European Union, embraced in the European Green Deal a circular economy action plan. In the next years, the majority of funds of the European Union for research and development will go to projects in the circular economy. And the same for our government. So we need to be in this game and to play this game and prepare students for this. But it's not just a European idea, because as you can see from these figures, the circular economy at the moment is becoming big in a growing number of regions in the world. Examples of circular economy are just around us, more than we think and we imagine, like these Adidas shoes made of recycled bottles, of plastic bottles, collected from the beaches. You have this woman in Kenya, she's an entrepreneur. She founded her business 10 years ago. Now she employs 40 people in Nairobi. She collects plastic from the environment and uses it to recycle and produce poles for the construction industry. So she also avoids that people cut the trees for their buildings. But you can see those notebooks, they are made of one of the poorest materials in the world, that is elephant dung, elephant poo. I have one here with me. it illustrates that with a circular mindset, being innovative, daring to innovate, you can make value of the least valuable things in the world. And also contributed to climate change, because take away elephant dung with its environmental impact. Also, look at that ring. Interesting. This is a line of jewels that is made collecting polluted air, smog, in the main cities through towers that has been patented and so on. And these towers collect the smog in the air and compress the smog in order to produce jewels. So everything, the least valuable thing, can become something important and reduce environmental impact. The book we are using in this course, just to advertise myself a little bit, is my book on circular entrepreneurship, published 1 year ago for Palgrave and written together with Sabine Urban. So to conclude, what do we do in this? Using always this phenomenon-based teaching, I make just a very short final example. We start from an example that is, sorry, there is a lot of noise. I don't know what is, someone is calling, of course. Sorry about that. You start from a phenomenon. In this case, let's take the phenomenon of fashion and how fashion is impactful on the planet and for society. And then we move to solutions. Students are surprised to find evidence that fashion is the second most polluting industry after oil. So we provide data to document this observable phenomenon about CO2 emission, pesticide, usage of water to grow cotton, but not only exploitable, especially children and women in this industry. And at the end of the day, we have clothes that remained maybe unutilized in our wardrobes for months. So in front of this evidence, we invite students to scout for solutions. What would you do? How can you, using entrepreneurship, respond to this challenge of sustainable fashion? And last, in our last discussion with students, the winner of the many cases they found to tackle the problem is this company. It's a Dutch company, Mad Jeans. They produce sustainable jeans, but not only sustainable jeans. They strongly believe in the circular economy. They aim at a circular enterprise, not only at a circular product. They want to eliminate waste completely in all its manifestations. And in order to do so, they innovate not only the product to make it recyclable, but of course the production processes, the entire value chain, and the business model. Why the business model? Because their jeans are not necessarily sold. You can rent them on a monthly subscription basis. So you can rent jeans for 1 month, avoiding also the waste in wardrobe, and not only the waste of materials and so on. So this is their business model, totally circular. It starts from designing circular products, cradle to cradle, manufacturing in a sustainable way with renewable sources, using organic cotton only, and so on. Leasing their jeans, renting or buying if you want, returning. You have to return their jeans in any case, whether you lease or buy, upcycling and recycling. recycling. I will not comment more on this. But jeans is a nice case that when you are circular and you pay attention to the environment, you cannot forget people and society. So people expect that they are equally sustainable in the supply chains and in their factories and wages. So in the end, students, lecturers, phenomena, real cases can really try to develop capacity to identify problem and find solutions. They can learn to learn, understand opportunity, but also problems, difficulties, because companies have found a lot of problems and obstacles. They need to be aware of these. Nothing easy here. And of course, connect back to the SDGs and their interconnections. There is no green only firm. If you are sustainable, you are humane. So, and this is the end. Thank you very much for your attention.
Antonella, this is just an amazing presentation here. I really like the examples. You made it real for us in terms of from the jeans to the phone to everything here. And yes, you've captured well the phenomena, but you've also tied it to a very rigorous academic underpinning here, which is critical here today, because we can talk as much as possible, but if we cannot tie the theory and the phenomena to practicality, then we're not going anywhere with the SDGs. So I'm just delighted here. Thank you very much. And we're going to take questions at the end. And as Lillian mentioned, it's very timely. I agree. So let me switch now to Sylvia. Sylvia, if you want to unmute your phone and then go and share your screen, and we'll go from there.
Yes.
Yeah, this is excellent.
Okay, ready?
We're ready. Go for it.
Greetings from UTRGV, the Rio Grande Valley. I'm so delighted to be here and honored. It's a pleasure. My colleague, I'm so impressed. Antonella, congratulations. I learned so much. I read the comments and a lot of people agree with me. So great presentation. Thank you so much, Amen, for everything, this initiative and everything you do to connect us. It has been an amazing experience being a graduate of the Teaching SDGs, and being able to be here is amazing. So I'm gonna share with you some reflections, challenges, and lessons learned integrating the SDGs and the community engaged scholarship in entrepreneurship courses. I teach entrepreneurial courses at the Robert C. Bacard College of Business and Entrepreneurship. So I will be addressing some of the backgrounds and the context, the ecosystem, and so you will understand how I'm being able to implement this Adopt a Startup at UTRGV as an example of integrating the SDGs and the community engaged scholarship. So I'm gonna share a little bit of the best practices, incorporating them in the entrepreneurship and management courses. I will share a little bit of the background of the triple helix model and how Adopta una Empresa was born. I know Francisco Navarrete from the first part, my colleague, gave us a great example of what is the reality of the small and micro businesses in Mexico. As well, I was delighted to watch and to see that this triple helix, somebody told me that that wasn't a thing anymore. Obviously, I started back in 2007, and I was so delighted to see my colleague showcasing a few weeks ago how the triple helix can improve the innovation. So some of the lessons learned, and I will share, of course, some examples of how we have integrated SDGs and the community engaged scholarship, the importance of the networking and partnership, and some conclusions. So as you can see, our mission statement, it includes, it's one of the crucial areas that we want to address as a university is a community engagement and sustainable development. And so let me tell you that I wasn't aware of the SDGs until I was so fortunate to participate at the Faculty Professional Development on International Center for Sustainability across the curriculum, thanks to the UTRGV Office for Sustainability and the ability to connect us also. And so we were able to learn. So that was my first step in learning. And also I got, fortunately, I got my syllabus certified on sustainability. So later on, I learned that I needed to connect. I couldn't do it by myself. As Antonella mentioned, it is so important to learn who you are, what is the ecosystem, what is going on in the university. So we have a lot of efforts and initiatives on creating sustainability and some programs nowadays to foster that and for students to learn how to integrate the SDGs and obviously all the efforts to engage. So one great thing is that the university earned recently the Carnegie's Foundations as on the community engagement, as well as the goals on stars from the AASHE. So I was so fortunate to collaborate as a faculty fellow and to learn from other faculty as well. I was sharing the things that I was doing in order to promote these SDGs. So how can we achieve these ambitious SDGs? Is a lot, correct? It could be overwhelming. But the one thing that I have learned is that we cannot do anything without the community. And everything we do for the community, it will pay back as resources, as learning. We cannot disregard the local knowledge, which is essential to make the 2030 agenda a reality. So in order to integrate those, we have to act locally in order to then perform or impact globally. And of course, we need the leadership. So these are just some examples of how we have been participating. I have been participating with my students through the different engaged scholarship symposiums that the university organizes in order to promote entrepreneurship, social sustainability, and of course, the community engaged projects. It is so important, it's crucial, as Antonella mentioned, the interdisciplinary, the building of the teams from different disciplines. So how can you impact in the community if you don't know yourself, if you don't know your skills, if you haven't built up those skills? So it's so important to know the community and the unity of the power of the place and the wisdom of people. I really love this from Guajardo, Miguel Guajardo book. I included the information in every slide. So this is a way, as you can see, we have the goals included in every poster, and students compete in order to promote the SDGs. So the areas of community are engaged teaching, research, and service. We that are academic, I know we have many different disciplines involved in these sessions. It is about building, but including, integrating, achieving the SDGs, as well as we collaborate with the community. So how do I do it? The thing is, I use the PARE model, in which I start with the planning, preparation, then the action, the reflection, which is so important to reflect what did we do wrong, what it is good to replace, and also is circular, correct? And the evaluation, how can we improve, as well as we try to get all the disciplines, groups in the university involved. We are also looking for partners. So it is very difficult, and in order to get a good partner, it's like a marriage. So you need to know, and you sometimes you don't have so many resources or options. However, it is so important. I recommend you guys that are implementing SDGs and community engagement scholarship in your courses to have clear goals and objectives. The selection partner has to be, it is important. I was so fortunate to collaborate back in 2017 with the Women's Business Center in Rio Grande Valley, as well as the UTRGV Entrepreneurship and Commercialization Center, who have been my partners and helping me through this effort to collaborate and make the SDGs a reality in the companies that we adopt. So the course content, it is very important, and as well as academics, I know so many of you are educators. How do you assess the learning and the implementation of a community engaged project that also impacts with the SDGs? So we really need to do our homework. We really need to, the best practices for the community-based learning Syllabi is about getting all the resources, the centers that collaborate with you, be clear on the expectations that you have in your course. I do include all the information necessary for the students to understand that this is a community engaged project. The students will be impacting a real company, and it's a lot more responsibility than just working with cases, correct? So I'm being so fortunate to have been collaborating with the Center for Online Learning and Teaching, especially now that we have to, this semester was a traditional course and we have to transfer to online. However, we were able to complete all the business plans and everything for the companies that we adopted on the spring 2020 after COVID. So we need to blueprint our courses and align the objectives with the goals, with the objectives, and of course, with every module, and we need to align those with the SDGs that we want to apply as we make progress. And those objectives have to be aligned with the materials, with the learning outcomes, with the assessment and the technology. So also a great part of what I have achieved through the joining UTRGV back in 2015 has been the great resources I have at the university as the Engaged Scholar and Learning, of course, the Center for Teaching Excellence and the Office of Faculty Success and Diversity. All these resources have had an impact on what I have been doing. So what is the Adopt a Startup? How it was born? Well, this is a little background. The triple helix, as I mentioned, originated with Hetzkovich. Dr. Hetzkovich tried to, implemented it, the triple helix, which is the connection with the university, within the university, the industry, and the government. So back in 2007, when I was working at Universidad Iberoamericana Torreón, my hometown, original from Mexico, yes. So I started this dream to connect the different counties, the city counties, and the government, and the micro, small, and medium enterprises with the university, what the students could have done in order to impact these companies. Obviously, nobody believed in this and dream and my model, my triple helix model at the beginning. And so I only started with 12 companies. I end up at the adopting more than 80. But the only other program that collaborated with me, I was the coordinator of the foreign commerce on the College of Business. It was the graphic designer. So later on, more programs added to this. So we have the real multidisciplinary, having more than 16 different disciplines, collaborating with more than 27 companies, small companies per semester. So what was the result of this? I also specialize on intellectual property, and we were able for free to design the students designed the logos. My students completed the international business plan for some of these companies to start exporting. And we were able to file for 47 registered trademarks, 4 patents, and 3 utility patents. And believe it or not, back in 2007, this program was run from 2007 to 2009, which was the base of my dissertation and my thesis while I was working at the university, studying my doctoral studies at the Universidad Autónoma de Coahuila. And so all these 4 companies that you see here, which are the 4 patents, were all trying to solve a problem, a major problem, and in order to reverse all the environmental and social challenges that we have been having. And we can only reverse this by integrating the SDGs, the community, and so on. So how do I do it now at UTRGV? I joined UTRGV in 2015. I started implementing the business model canvas, but I didn't have a partner at the beginning. So I partnered with the grad students, with Dr. Ree, who got me into this business model canvas. And so it was a total different story from what I was doing back in Mexico. Fortunately, my dream to happen is to involve more faculty, more disciplines, more programs into this Adopt a Startup. So it's not only the College of Business, and I have accomplished this dream by being able to collaborate with the College of Engineering and Computer Science, and being able to assist other companies or develop innovations from faculty, from students, or from local entrepreneurs. So as you can see, the students are always trying to, which is the methodology. I adopt 4 to 5 companies per semester. At the beginning, in 2017, my partner was the Women's Business Center and ECC. So I adopted underrepresented enterprises or people, and we were able to help by the students' intervention to test what their business ideas. I'm pretty sure you all are aware that so many companies just launch their businesses without knowing, experimenting, and learning about what is they need to know about the customer discovery. So what my students do is to learn more about the customers and the marketplace feedback, and they complete more than 150 interviews per project. So they are always working with real life customers, and they report their outcomes in a weekly basis. And I invite the entrepreneurs to my class every week. And so I have more people learning, not only my students, but also entrepreneurs who join and are active in also conducting the research about their own business. So what is important here is that by going out of the building, by connecting impacting the community, we learn more and establish a sustainable business model that is based in primary research. And so we gather, evaluate, and use customer feedback and test our hypotheses to evaluate each of the business model canvas blocks. So we do not want only companies that are profitable. We want them to be sustainable. We care about these companies. So the Office of Sustainability is constantly offering webinars and tools and trainings for faculty to learn more. And I always get these SDGs that I give to each of the startups and each of the students, so they can work on the business model canvas with the entrepreneurs, with the community, and as well as to recognize how can we apply the SDGs. My objective is to promote an entrepreneurial spirit, and of course we're promoting social entrepreneurship, sustainable entrepreneurship, and we want the students to be conscious about these changes and how these can impact themselves, because I have also have students who have been starting their own companies. So this is a mindset that we are just starting, and at the end of the semester we have an internal competition, and each of the companies that wins, representing by the team who makes an effort to win, gets a 6 months incubation at the UTRGV ECC or incubator, and also each of the students get to have they get a Kaufman program, a fast track for each of the winner students. So this is about competition. What is the action in this case? We try to learn as we go, because each of the industries is different, as we address different problems and attack those problems, learning about who the real customer is. We want to create jobs, and we want to better support the communities we operate in by helping building trust, and better information equals better decision making for these companies. We want them to price correctly. We want to use pricing strategies that suit the market needs, not only creating something nobody wants. And we are always insisting on how these companies, because they are small, how can they be more efficient, cost efficient, and how can they learn this? Well, by doing this testing out of the building. And so students develop these skills, and presenting in a weekly basis, oral communication skills so needed, or the soft skills in today's world. And also, of course, the outcome of this project is a business model, and a sustainable business model, a business plan that the company receives. And we have seen these startups that have been growing so much because they continue with this incubation, and then they open a new source of employment and develop different new products. This semester we adopted some companies that just launched 2 weeks before COVID. So it was really, if we wouldn't have this networking, it would have been so difficult for these small companies to survive. However, we encouraged them and we supported them all the way. But I cannot do any of this by myself. I have always had the support. Like, we participate at the Engage Scholar Symposium, as you can see in spring 2019. You don't only see the students, but you also see the entrepreneurs participating. So active participation with the community really makes an impact. This is the 2019. I have 2 programs. One is in collaboration with adopting companies from the ECC or Women's Business Center, and the other program is collaborating with the College of Engineering. And as we have an ICORP site, we want to promote also innovation, technology, and so this model was to prove that we can collaborate with different disciplines and be successful. Also, the students participate at an annual business plan competition, and they impact the economy because they're building up these new companies with backing up these companies with real customer discovery, research, primary research, and of course, secondary research. So we can see companies like Café Canasto that we adopted this company with just an idea. She just said, I want to bring my Colombian culture to Brownsville and distribute good products, a good coffee product. Okay, so, and now it's a reality. Also, this is another business that just launched like 2 weeks before all happened with COVID, but they are surviving thanks to the great research, the business plan, and information. So this is all the students' effort and job to help the community. So what can we reflect about this is that we need to be very critical about the experience and understand that each of the startups has a total different model, and all of them are belong to different industries. I'm so pleased to see can you see all these happy faces receiving their diplomas, that completing this program, interacting with the community. But this goes beyond just the academic, because we take them to forums, to Congress, to conferences, so they can also build up that networking and become this is a mindset, that building the entrepreneurial mindset. So this is another company under reflection, is that she's so thankful that she even she started to sell on the marketplace, correct? And now she was able to open her own restaurant at the museum, inside the museum. But she has something in the table, and she thanks Adopt a Startup program for accomplishing all her the things that she has been able to accomplish with her company at Crepe Town. So students have been able to assist through this program, Adopt a Startup, more than 60 companies through the extensive primary research. So we need so many things to improve, to change, evaluate. This is circular, yes, I agree. And so, but we need to evaluate. We have an application. So fortunately now we have companies that are lining up in order to be part of this program. And also we have an exit survey, not only for the companies that participate in this program, but also for each of the students to evaluate what is the experience and the importance of collaborating in a community engaged scholarship project, plus developing the sustainable development goals for each of the companies. So the lessons learned, as I mentioned, they learn how to establish relationship with others, and to engage and to have a positive impact upon the quality of life in their communities. And they feel so successful by accomplishing and helping a real startup. So there are so many initiatives in the university going on promoting the SDGs, a lot of faculty working really hard. And so we just want to share a little bit of what we're trying to do to assist our students. We want them to graduate. For some of them is the first generation, and a lot of them do not have enough resources. But we are happy that through this program, they can foster and develop their entrepreneurial spirit. So as I mentioned before, everything is about networking and creating collaboration and partnerships. So in order to get total those market opportunities, about 12 trillion per year 2030. So I work with the economic development at UTRGV, the Division of Governmental Community Relations. As you can see, the Entrepreneurship and Commercialization Center is the one that I connect the most. Also, we have as the BCOVI, we have the Center for Innovation and Commercialization, in which I teach some of the courses, or we have the business plan competition and creating this ecosystem. And so also the faculty advisor for the Collegiate Entrepreneurs Organization. So we take students to pitch or to participate at these global conferences in different places around the year. But we not only do that, also every semester we organize, UTRGV is part of the Women in Entrepreneurship week, and we create a panel or something through the CEO organization as well. We participate in different scenarios, and we connect with different personalities and other student organizations. So also, some of the companies that I adopted back in 2017, 2018, now they are giving back to the community by offering trainings and all the things or products to the new companies. So when we have the closing event, we can raffle some stuff for students and promote students' collaboration. Again, another key partner of this journey has been the Small Business Administration, as well as the Brownsville Community Improvement Corporation. And they have always supported me in every participating as judges or as speakers, and assisting the students and collaborating with the community. I'm also part of the Fem City. We try to empower women, and as you can see, I'm very involved on the as well as I'm part of the Women's Faculty Network at UTRGV. And so this is the conclusion. What have we done after all these adopt a startup and idea or a model that I'm trying to share with you guys, is that students have impacted more than 60 startups by redefining their customer segments and learning about the real value proposition, marketing, operation, financial strategies, as well, identifying their SDGs. So we have seen many jobs, the creation of many jobs, and we have organized launched six launching and closing events from 2017 to 2020, and more than 60 participating startups from 2015 to 2020. And we have 18 startups adopted with the Women's Business Center, and another 10 with the UTRGV ECC from fall 2019 to spring 2020. Students have created sustainable business models and plans, more than 10 logo designs, 9 webs developments, and 6 improved, more than 6 just ideas, and that have been already launched, impacting the community and trying to be sustainable, of course. And more than 150 students participating in this program, more than 2,000 interviews conducted, and more than 10,000 service learning hours with an economic value of $250,000 every semester. This is per semester. So students get the benefit to get better jobs, better internships, or possibilities when they show this in the resumes, as this is formally tracked on their resumes as an official tracking, or to demonstrate that they have been working with this community engaged scholarship promoting SDGs. So this is all I have on my side, and I'm so thankful for this opportunity and hope to hear from you guys.
Thank you very much. Sylvia, you're just amazing, full of energy here and full of ideas here. You've taken something that was very, like you just connected all the pieces, and I really liked what you said in the beginning. where do we start? How do we start, and where do we start from when there are so many different things that we can accomplish and task? And I think your approach is we start by taking one step at a time is ideal here, which is what we've done. So what I'd like to do is now open up for some questions. So if you have any questions or comments, please add them in the chat box here. But I'm going to start with Antonella here because she started this, and her and I had a conversation via email about the circular economy, and I asked you to tell me a little bit more about it, and maybe tie it to, and I'm going to ask her to tie it to two things here. One is this concept of humane entrepreneurship that Roberto and Keishan and I have been working on, and also this tie to the SDGs, because it seems that the SDGs are talking about the circular economy, but they're talking about it from a goals perspective. So Antonella, I'm going to give you the floor while some other people are writing questions, and then we'll come back to Sylvia. What's your reaction?
Thank you, Ayman, for your question. Thank you, Sylvia, that your talk was really inspiring and providing a lot of great ideas to develop further our courses. Regarding the circular economy, well, I think it's a part of humane entrepreneurship, as it is part of sustainable entrepreneurship. It has a very specific goal. It's a set of business models that help to close the loop of resources. And that's why I provided examples like the Fairphone or jeans to make practical examples of the fact that through circular business model, basically you aim to reduce to zero waste of any kind, but at the same time, while pursuing these objectives that are apparently only environmental kind of objectives and related to environmental SDGs, but you need to be, as I said, humane, quoting your works, because when you have respect for the planet, I mean, this is what moves you. What makes you circular? You respect the planet and every living creature of the planet. So you cannot exploit workers or communities and at the same time being green. So at the end of the day, though the circular economy provides these business models that close the loop, at the same time, they are fully part of your concept, humane entrepreneurship. And they connect with sustainable development goals in many ways.
Excellent, thank you. There's a question that comes here to Sylvia here, and it comes to Dr. Sylvia. There's a very inspirational speech to others, for me and others in the world. Continue doing what impacts people, community, and industry, right, is important here. But let me ask you a question here, Sylvia. I'm going to ask you a difficult question. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. You know, when in university and in academia, what really typically happens is people want research, want publications. Okay, they want to show how good you are in submitting a paper and getting it accepted and getting it all this. But what you're doing is beyond this. You're doing something that actually is at the heart of teaching and education. And I can imagine you sitting in meetings or in different stuff happening here where you have two schools of thought. One is, oh, we have to do research, we have to publish. And you're sitting there and you're ready to burst out saying, well, we have to make the world a better place. We have to impact the community here, right? How do you balance both in your way of meeting, collaborating, and working with people?
That's a tough question. And I
told you it was tough.
It requires a lot of energy, a lack of sleep. And I'm not being sustainable myself. No, but you're so right. And I did this in purpose to leave the challenges at the very end, so you will later on digest this. But this is the struggle. I'm part of the VCOE strategic planning committee, and that's the conversation is about, the discussion is about how can we balance and be inclusive of all ranking, because we have lecturers, we have professors, we have you know, different rankings that have different requirements. And you are so right. When I was a faculty fellow, I was challenged by the faculty telling me, why should I include a community engaged scholarship that takes so much time, so much energy, so much everything, when I need to publish and I'm not going to be evaluated. My performance won't be evaluated. So this is the challenge, one of the challenges that I'm including in my this presentation, that we need to align the what the institution wants from you. Like if it's all research is a priority, yes, but we have to be inclusive for others that may be doing some others. So what I can tell you is that we need to allow those who are practitioners, those who are trying to impact the community and implementing through experiences, impacting students' life and the business and every other area, by maybe not publishing, but implementing the scholarly work in their community engaged or implementation of the SDGs. So we need to identify those criteria and metrics, and in order to evaluate that in the performance and give it a weight, in order for faculty to feel, okay, I'm being valued, you know, what I do matters. And I know I have to accomplish these publications, but also I can balance that. So it is, yeah, you're right. It was a really hard question. But
let me take the same question and ask Antonella here. Antonella, I know in Italy, go from an associate professor to a full professor, you have to go through a national examination, right? I know this very well because I have colleagues that go through this. And the national, this has many different aspects, the research, the globalization here. When do you think Italy will look at taking professors that are at associate level and to move them finally to a full professor? When are they going to look at the SDGs, look at these conversations about humanity, about humane entrepreneurship, and say, this is part of the criteria for being a full professor? What have you done as a professor to help improve or impact Italy? Because it's a national examination, it's a national competition. Not everybody becomes a full professor in Italy. When is this happening? When is this conversation coming to happen? Because I can see at some point you, Roberto, will end up being in the leadership position in Italy. When and how would you see this happening? That's part one. Part two, I want to raise the issue of gender. Is the SDGs gender specific in teaching and education, or is it not? I don't know the answer to this. I'm just asking this question because I'm curious. And I leave it like that. Okay, so it's back to you with the tough questions. Mio Dio. Ma Ayman, cosa hai fatto? Mio Dio, Ayman, cosa hai fatto?
These are big questions, particularly the first one. I must say we are not yet there. The importance of sustainability and SDGs for academic careers is not yet there in Italy. I don't know in other countries. So, but I think it's growing. It's growing because, as I told you, the funds for research are moving towards these topics. Meaning that also not only applied research, but also basic research, but also publications will take a move in this direction. A new criterion that is growing for careers is making an impact. And this is good news also for what Sylvia was saying. In the past, they just evaluated publications. Now they start considering which type of impact you are doing. And just 2 months ago, we had to report to our Vice Chancellor what we do in terms of impact and community engagement. Because this will be part of something that will be matter of evaluation. So it's happening slowly, but we get there, particularly for sustainability. But thank you, Ayman, because it's a great idea. So I will talk to Roberta, and we will try to push this agenda a little bit further at the national level. And second question, the gender specific. This is good question. This is good question. There's certainly a gender issue there. And there are, however, opportunities for studying more this topic. I can just tell you that all the case studies I have collected in circular entrepreneurship, that is my more specific angle of study of research, especially in developing countries, are run by women. I don't say all the cases, but a good number, especially in developing countries. When I was mentioning the notes made with elephant dung, or the woman in Kenya collecting plastic recycling, because women have always been in charge of, let's say, keeping the environment. It's part of caregiving, of the traditional caregiving role assigned. And so you find it very, very often. I don't mean that women have to be the only and confined to the caregiving, but certainly there's been a pattern there. And I can find it, especially in some regions, women protagonists of these new ventures and small ventures in sustainability. So this is nice to study further.
Yeah, you know, I'll give you my personal opinion here, and this is just me, my personal opinion. It has not based on anybody here, but here's what I'm thinking here. I think I'm seeing a trend here, evolving here, that everybody's now talking about STEM, science, technology, or STEAM, right? And I fear that we're going to become, we're going to have two polars here. One polar is STEM, and the other side of it is SDG, right? I am fearing that this is going to happen, that we're going to be focusing on, oh, we need to add curriculum in STEM, we need to do STEM, STEM is important, science, technology, data analytics, right? And then one group will take STEM, and then the other group will take the SDGs here. And we're going to be in either two camps. We need to be aware of this right from the beginning, right? I think what we need to have, why can't we have SDGs STEM courses? You know, that every SDG course has a STEM component, every STEM course has an SDG component. You cannot have one or the other. Both have to go hand in hand. So something to consider, you know, I mean, is for you all to move in this forward, because the world is the end of the status quo, is we're saying here. And you're right, I feel that this is more of a gender-specific topic, and I don't want it to be a gender-specific topic. I want it to be a neutral topic where everybody jumps in. And this is where I call on everybody here that's joining this session, that's part of this, is let's get more men involvement. Let's get more presentations from faculty that are men on the SDGs, because we need to make sure that everybody's covering this, not just one group versus the other one here. And I know we're running out of time, but what I'd like to do is ask Sylvia to give us our last comments here, and then I'll give it back to Antonella, and then we're going to close. So Sylvia, your last comments?
I want to encourage you to do not be disappointed if you get a no for response, and keep focused on developing this. It matters. We have to be more resilient. We have to be make these companies more competitive, and the only way they can be successful and we can impact and build up this mindset and this STEM that cannot survive without sustainable development is to keep pushing. Business are the driving force. We learn from Francisco that is the 90% of these micro and small and medium companies that sustain the 88% of the economy. So let's keep pushing. Maybe we can feel overwhelmed that we only have not enough resources, not enough time, but collaboration is key. It has been key for me. and I wouldn't be able to adopt all these 60 companies without all the support from the community. And the community is thankful, and they see it with as a benefit. So what if each of you can replicate the same? So I would like just to encourage you to integrate SDGs in your curriculum, in your courses, in your programs, and impact in any discipline. There's no excuse, as well as community engage.
Thank you very much. Very, very well said, very eloquent. And Antonella, per te?
Well, thank you. I think we have a great responsibility as educators. And the responsibility is to, as I said before, make students grow their appetite for change and for sustainable change in the direction of SDGs. So we have to try to find all the ways that permit to achieve this target. And Sylvia has a wonderful example of this community engagement that also creates enthusiasm. And on our side, we are experimenting ways that can raise the attention level of students, but also the passion level of students, because this is what we need. And we want them to be creative and multidisciplinary. So there's no STEM or non-STEM, but I mean, you have to be quite open-minded, multidisciplinary to be creative for sustainability.
Great, thank you very much. This has been exceptional here, and I'm very pleased that we're creating these parts or these series on the Teaching the SDGs. We had 2 excellent examples today, and this is just amazing. I want to thank Sylvia. I want to thank Antonella here for a great presentation. And tomorrow we have, I'm going to switch for tomorrow here. Tomorrow, let me tell you a little bit of the story of tomorrow. There was a young researcher, a very young researcher, and 25 years ago wrote an article. And the article's title was very interesting. It had a flow to it here. And he wrote the article and he published it. And the next thing you know, this article becomes a major hit, right? And he becomes a mini celebrity in the research world. And this article that was written 25 years ago became one of the most downloaded or one of the most cited papers ever in entrepreneurship research. So, you know, we all go to the movies. We all go to do things. And we know how sometimes after many years, they release part 2 of a movie or part 3 of a movie, and everybody's excited because they remember part 1 and they want to come back and see part 2, or they re-release it. So, and a couple of years ago, I met with him at an ICSB conference, and I told him, I said, listen, I have an idea for you. And he goes, yeah, I mean, what's your idea? I was like, remember that article you wrote? Oh yeah, I mean, 25 years ago. I said, why don't you refresh it? Why don't you look at it again after 25 years and submit it again? And he goes, no, Ivan, why would I want to do something like that? I'm like, why not? Think about it. It's 25 years ago. It's time for us to look at it again and see what you think of it. And he goes, well, okay, let me think about it. And he did think about it. And then he came back and he said, okay, Ivan, I'll write it. I'll write an updated version of it. And let me see what comes out of it. Let me see if things have changed from 25 years ago or not. And so this January, basically, he published the article, right? And tomorrow we're going to have him here to talk about it. So I'm delighted tomorrow to have Norris Kruger come back to us and talk to us about his article. And the title for tomorrow is Into the Unknown with Norris Kruger. So we're taking an article that's 25 years old, refreshing it, and then coming back and talking about it. So I am just delighted to have him come here. He's a great speaker. I call him the Nikola Tesla of entrepreneurship research because of his great ideas here. So so tomorrow we'll have Tesla with us here on research. So I welcome you all to join us. Please, everybody stay safe. We will share the slides with everyone and the video as usual. Stay safe, and I look forward to connecting with you guys again. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao, fammi bene. Ciao.
Thanks to the entrepreneurs, Horacio, Franklin, that connected, colleagues that joined us today. Thank you so much. Stay